All right, we're going to be doing an ICP breakdown for anybody that does not know what ICP stands for. So, whenever you're creating content, you make it for a specific audience. Otherwise, whatever purpose your content has does not get fulfilled. So, when you try to understand what this audience is, you try to go into as many specificities as possible. And then you try to divide your ICP into pillars so that you can tailor make content for them. Today we have Vansh and Rushal with us. They're the founders of one of the fastest growing AI agencies in India right now. Give a brief introduction, Vansh.
So yeah, I'm Vansh, the founder of goatedd.tech. What we do is we basically create customized software for your company. We kind of, audit your company. We try to understand the problems that your existing tools face, internal or external. And here's what we do. We say, okay, this is how it's working right now. 90% of the times, they're not using any AI. We integrate their systems with AI and make them operationally faster, efficient, and yeah, that's pretty much what we do.
Okay, man. That's really cool.
Hi, I'm Rushal. I'm the co-founder and CEO of goatedd.tech. And I think Vansh gave a pretty good explanation of what we do. Me and Vansh are childhood best friends, and we've been doing this for about a month now. And I think we've had undeniably crazy growth for the past 1 month. And that's what we do. I think companies need to stop using 10 different softwares to do their work and still have like 30% efficiency. So yeah, we just help them fix that.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, in our last session, we did an ICP breakdown for Rushal, and we're going to do one for Vansh today. Something very unique with the personal brands we're building for Rushal and Vansh is that they're both going to be very identical in a sense that they're both tailor-made for one vision, which is to grow one company with us. So I believe personal brands that are focused, are funneled down to one single mission, have a really great chance of huge compounding. And yeah, that's something we would do, figure out how to optimize on for Vansh and Rushal here. So when I do an ICP breakdown, I write the person in the middle. I make a sun around them. So this is an analogy I use of the solar system. And so this is Vansh. I realize this is the easiest way of doing an ICP breakdown. So this is Vansh, the sun in this case. These are all the rays. My handwriting, my drawing is pretty bad, but I hope it gets the message across. And Vansh is going to make content for a variety of people. So the rays are going to be the content pieces analogically, and they're going to reach a variety of people, which is going to be the ICP that we map out today. Yeah, so Vansh, when we think about your personal brand, when you visualize your personal brand 5 years down the line, what do you think is the core purpose that your personal brand is sort of fulfilling?
Right. So I feel I really want to, put myself out there. That's the first thing that I want to do. My personal brand should help founders connect to each other. I want to create this kind of network where I talk about AI, I talk about everything that's happening even in tech, and kind of just, make you all understand how the world is shifting towards AI while having you all in the same boat. So basically founders is one pillar that I might be targeting.
Okay, Vansh. So what I understand right now is one purpose is going to be to build a network of people like you, network of founders that relate to the insights that you share around building your company and the journey that you're going to be sharing, right? Second is going to be your unique insights around AI, things that you are an expert at, things that you're learning along the way, things that you are innovating on every single day with the clients that you're working with, right? Third is going to be business owners very specifically. This is your ICP also for goatedd, which is your AI agency. So these are people that will directly be funneled down into your business, right? So business owners that need your service. So this is a very specific kind of people. And ideally, the approach most people take is they just think of their business as ICP and end up making content exactly for them. Yeah. But if you realize when you're thinking of the long game, when you're thinking of personal brand as an asset and something that will compound in the future, you can't rely on one single business model and make your personal brand a distribution channel for it. Right. You're just an ad page then. You're just a billboard. Right. That is not what you are. The personal aspect of your personal brand is what makes it unique, is what makes it you. And in the future, if you want to say sort of take an exit from goatedd, you want to pivot into something else, you can take your personal brand forward. That is something that is going to stay with you for the rest of your life. You don't want to make it specifically just to get leads into your business, although that is going to be a major pillar of why we're building a personal brand. So yeah, just to clarify as to why we're keeping it as one of the pillars and not the core pillar. Do you think there's any other purpose that your personal brand wants to solve?
So yeah, definitely. I think that I really want to motivate people through my story. I want to show them that you can achieve anything. If you send that email out, if you make that call happen, you can literally do whatever. There's a vast, there's an entire ocean out there. I want to motivate people to just do it. I took the risk. I sat for placements in my college, but I really don't give a shit about that. I said, okay, never mind. I'm gonna call my best friend up, and we're gonna do this.
Absolutely. I think that's, for more context, that's a very integral part of how goatedd started and both Bunches and Rochelle's story, which is that they decided to take the bet on themselves. They decided to stick to the unconventional path, even when they had all the choice in the world to stick to the conventional one. So through sharing that story, there are going to be a lot of people that relate to it. There are going to be a lot of people that get motivated by it. It's going to be a byproduct. So you're not here to motivate them inherently, but your story will inevitably, indirectly be doing that.
Right.
So that is what we're trying to fulfill with your story here, which is going to be a very intrinsic part of your personal brand. Okay, anything else you think we're missing out here?
I'd like to add about it.
Yeah.
I think one big add-on to having a motivation ICP more than just goodwill, which is a very good, reason to do it, is that if you motivate these people well enough, then these people are gonna go on to then become your ICP number 2. So the person who's watching your reel who does not do anything, he's motivated to start his own business. Tomorrow, if he needs AI in his business, you're the first guy he's gonna call.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the compounding effect that takes place for the personal brand. That's sort of the vision we are going to have here as well. Very well mentioned by Ashurya. Yeah. Any other purpose you think we're missing out on here?
I think that's pretty much
So
it.
that's pretty much it. If you think along the line when we're elaborating, think there's anything missing, you can just add that. So we'll start with the first ICP that we can think of here, which is, we'll get this one out of the way, which is business owners that need your service. So one of your raise goes to your ICP or goatedd, which is the agency that you're running, right? So these are business owners that are not very well versed with AI. What other factors do you think we should include here? What other traits do these business owners have? They're not very well versed with AI. They've not integrated tech into their business. They're operationally very chaotic.
So yeah, just not being very well versed with AI is not what the trait is.
Okay.
Definitely, a lot of people are just scared of AI at this
Right.
point of time. So when we come to them and we say, okay, here's how we're going to integrate AI, you're scared of the term AI. But AI is here to clean your data, to actually, make data very visually attractive to you and present analytics in such a way that you've never seen before. So kind of educating them also
Right.
that AI is not just, some video generation, some deep fake, or, we really need to make them understand how it's going to help them in the long run by cleaning their data and everything.
There's something I want to add as well.
Yeah, Tavi.
I realized this when I was, going through the requirements for my ICP. I want to really try to personify this person who is voted, and a very peculiar observation. I'm sorry to cut the flow here, but there's like 2 main ICPs that we are as good, and they're both on the extreme edges of the spectrum.
I see. Okay.
So one of them, rightly said by you, is people who are struggling to integrate AI into their businesses. These are people who might be scared of AI, might not know what potential AI has to change their business. These are people who may not be aware of the fact that AI has a capacity to work for you beyond just making emails on ChatGPT and videos on Google Video. But that being said, I think another part of our ICP which has been very beneficial for us is the person who knows what they want. I think people who know what AI is capable of, people who know it's the future, and they're completely willing to embrace the risk that comes with AI because they understand that it's going to be the future whether we like it or not. So there's 2 people here. One is a person who's afraid to ride the wave, and another is a person who wants to desperately be on this wave but has no clue where to go. So
Absolutely. That means-
small story that I found out yesterday was Mo Joshi from Alaji Records, who we're working with. Me and Manju went to him and we asked him like, what made you want to work with us? And he said, dude, I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew that using 10 different tools and still not being efficient is not the way to go. But every single software agency he went to quoted him 8 to 10 months time and like millions of dollars to do this. And I think this is where the gap is like completely wide open in the market, where you have either these small indie development houses who build apps and software, or these huge software consultants, but no one is actually doing the problem solving for you. No one is actually coming there and be like, I'm gonna get my hands dirty. Everyone wants to create something that fits everywhere. They want to make a one size fits all, but the future is custom. The future is getting your hands dirty to then get clean later. And I think that is where we fit in very well. And that is why we cater to both of these people who are opposite to the spectrum very, very well equally.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense actually. From what I understand, the ICP for goatedd is going to be one, business owners that are resistant to AI. They know what AI is, but they're apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
So the first one is going to be people apprehensive about AI. Their businesses do need AI, but they're not sure whether their business needs it. They're not sure as to what benefits AI could actually bring into their business. So these are people that are confused about their operations. Their operations are very hectic. These are people that are still using Google Sheets for minuscule tasks. These are people relying on outdated softwares. So that is sort of the expansion on what topics we're going to be covering when we're doing content for these people yet, right? So one idea, just for an example's sake, is going to be you're spending more time on your operations in your business than you're required to do, and we'll half that time just by this custom AI solution, something like that.
So another, like, this is the characteristic of both of the ICPs actually, and I think this applies to most of Indian businesses. And I've only made this observation very recently because I've been entering this and I'm getting my hands dirty.
Right.
Is that nobody has time. Nobody has time, and it's not because they have too much work. It's because no one knows what the fuck to do. Nobody has any clue what they have to do. I went to an office. There's two people working in the office. There's one owner who does all the work, and there's one person you can rely on. Everybody else is watching reels. There's people coming into work, watching the reels and going because no one knows what to do. So there's no division of work. There's no operational efficiency. The owner doesn't have more than 24 hours in a day. And at the end of the day, what our offering does is gives the owner an opportunity to buy back their time. So the money you're paying us is not a simple agreement that I'll pay you this much for this software and these features. It's that pay us money and buy your time back. Get 5 hours of your day back to yourself and spend it however the fuck you want.
That makes a lot of sense. This insight helps us a lot to expand on to the problems that your ICP is facing. So it's going to be one, a lot of inefficiency in their current working culture, in their operations. Second is going to be, you're going to solve money leak on unnecessarily huge teams. So you're going to replace that for them by integrating AI. And third, you're going to save them a lot of time.
A lot.
So like they're spending a lot of time that can be saved. That expands onto the problem that this first ICP is facing. Yeah, coming back to the second contrasting end of the ICP for goatedd, they know that their businesses require AI, but they're not able to find the right fit that can help them solve this, and they don't have enough time to go out of their way and approach these people that can make these custom softwares or whatever the solution is required for them. But these are people that are relatively easier to convince because they are AI literate. So they know it's required, they know it's coming, they know they're going to beat their competition if they become the early movers here. But the bridge is just not connecting, and that's because the other end of the spectrum, that is the AI agency, they're not targeting them well enough. So that is what we're going to do with your personal branding, right? So the first ICP, if I'm not wrong, is pretty clear. After we've made all branches, all pillars of the ICP, what we're going to do is, for all the people watching this, like, you should be aware of what to do after you've recognized what your ICP is for your personal brand. Once you go into this much detail, once you are aware of the problems that your ICP is facing, what you have to do is ideate on topics specifically for these people. In this day and age when there is content abundance, what is going to genuinely build your personal brand, what is going to genuinely make a content piece work, is a video tailor-made for a specific kind of people. So which is why we're going into so much depth about a particular ICP pillar. So once you're done with breaking down your ICP this way, what you have to do is solve these problems through content topics. So you have to ideate You have to understand, okay, what does my business do that can solve this particular problem? And then go on and make 10, 20 topics for each problem and post that content piece. This is what you have to do after you've come up with your ICP. Is this much clear? Does this make sense to both of you? When the camera was off, Rushil just told me there were more insights that he had on this ICP. So we're going to hear Rushil out on what he...
So before I say that, I think we just noticed in real time the benefit of doing this activity, because if this would not have been done, I would have had this thought wouldn't have come to me.
And this thought is directly correlated to your business.
Yeah, and it came from this discussion. I'm being very candid here. So first of all, he's very right. If you're gonna do a personal brand, if you're gonna try and figure out your ICP, then you absolutely must sit and map it out, because you might think you know it all, but when you start talking is when the ideas start coming to you.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, I think the idea which I have is that one type of people we keep looking for in goatedd beyond like clients are like cracked people. Okay, like I think there is no mainstream way to get cracked people. For those who don't know what a cracked person is, this is a person who is very unconventional to the industry norm, but is absolutely amazing at what they do. This is your everyday person. You will not, unko dekh ke you will not feel like they're a different person. But when they get to work, they'll hyper fixate for 8 hours, 9 hours, and they'll do such great fucking work. And I think that is something that I want to use my personal brand for. And I think Bunch would also want to do that as well, is to appeal to these people, to show them what we're doing, and actually to identify and recruit these misfits of the world to build the team at goatedd. Because the vision for goatedd has always been to stand out. Our entire business came from the fact that we did not want to do something conventional.
Right.
It came from the fact that once did not want to sit for placements.
Right.
It came from the fact that I didn't want to rely on my IIM degree for a job. And hence, I want to look for more people who share this obsession beyond anything to make great and inevitable change in this world. And I think a personal brand is the best way to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because everyone's on content.
Absolutely.
Everyone's
We're going to,
content.
so we're going to follow through on that, and we're going to map out the second pillar for Vanch's personal brand. And we're going to leverage everything that Rushil said on the specific kind of people they're looking for to hire, to have a network around them of. We're going to put these people in this ICP pillar itself. So the second ICP for you, Vanch, when we look at it broadly, should be people into AI.
Correct.
Right? So these are people that consume a lot of info about AI. These are people that are probably themselves, they have AI agencies. These are people that are in universities studying about AI. They plan on getting into the AI sector. These are people that are business owners themselves, or are to be business owners, but are just curious about AI. So the second pillar is going to be people into AI in general.
Correct.
Right? So this is where your second ray, which is your content piece here, comes. People into AI, right? When we think of this, let's expand a bit on the kind of people we're looking for. And the purpose behind this pillar, it's going to be one, to hire great talent. Like Rushil mentioned here, they're looking for a very specific kind of people. They're looking for people that are really good at what they do. They are obsessed with what they do. So the content that we're going to be creating for Vanch and Rushil as well is going to be such that it goes into the depths of the industry to an extent that no other personal brand goes. It gives unique perspectives on the industry that a very few people can even comprehend. But the videos are going to find these people, and these are going to be the people that they eventually end up hiring. One very intrinsic part of your personal brand is going to be solving problems that usually go unnoticed, such as finding the right people to hire, right? When you create content that is obsessively centered around AI, that gives such unique insights around AI, that people that are genuinely know their shit can understand it. Only those specific people can understand it. The bond that they form with you just through your content piece is really deep. They would themselves want to work for you. So you don't have to be out hiring a person that is going to hire people, which is something that's going around in all new age companies. You don't have to spend time on that. You don't have to go sort of run ads to hire people on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. This is all inbound, and this is the top creamy lot that you can get to potentially hire in your company. Because One thing people don't realize while hiring, in my experience, is you think all you need is a person that is really good at what they do. But that only lasts for so long. They'll do 2 really great projects with you. They'll perform great. They'll get compensated greatly for that. But that is all it is, a transaction.
Correct.
And it ends at that. You won't hire a really great fit for your company unless that person is as obsessed with your vision as you, or this person relates to your vision as much as you do.
You make a very good point, Amish. And I think that is where we differ from everybody else who are doing for cracked people, is that our vision is very, very big for these people. I don't want to have a cracked person freelance for me and do two projects and leave me. What I am trying to do over here at Goatedd is build a community of cracked people. So today we're Goatedd software because me and Vansh are cracked at software. Tomorrow, when Goatedd evolves from Goatedd software to Goatedd group, and then we have, let's say, Goatedd personal brands, the first guy I'm calling is Amish. I have made so many connections with cracked people just through Goatedd. The idea is that everybody gets ownership.
Right.
Tomorrow when Goatedd personal brand starts, Amish will own the lion's share of Goatedd personal brands and we'll own the small share.
Right.
I want to build an empire of every single niche that has obsessed people, like obsessively working.
Right.
I want people who are not embarrassed of putting themselves out there. People who will shamelessly go to any extent to work. And because I'm so dead set on building that, I think I have the best value proposition for every cracked person out there that nobody can match. And
That
is
is
why
into software or AI.
Yeah.
Like any crack person.
This goes way beyond software and AI.
Oh,
but
okay.
to begin with software and AI, because we're good at
Absolutely,
software
right.
right now. And that's why I think people who are cracked are at par with people who are going to pay us for work
That
in
makes
terms
a
of
lot of
ICP.
sense. Absolutely. That is a great way of expanding into how the people that you hire have to buy into your vision. To give you more context, something that Rushil and Vansh were telling me was their plan with Goatedd is not just an agency. Before building this agency, they built AI SaaS for the medical industry in India called Parchi AI. And it's still on in the backend, but they want to create custom SaaS solutions for as many industries that need this. So the people that they hire are not going to be people that are going to be working in an agency for other clients. They're going to be allocated to these different branches of custom AI solutions, SaaS models that they're going to be creating in the future.
Right.
So these are people that have the potential of being co-founders themselves.
Yeah.
Not just of one custom AI SaaS model, of innumerable such SaaS models, depending on how they perform. So inevitably, when you have a vision this big, as Goatedd here, there is no way you don't hire people that align with that vision.
Yeah.
And there is no way you don't retain these people. Hiring is the easier part. There is no way you do not retain these people when you have a vision as large as this. So coming back to how we're going to integrate this into the pillar is going to be sharing the vision as much as possible in as much detail, because that is how you're going to attract these people, right? So people into tech and AI. And when we think of hiring great talent, the content that we're going to be putting out has to be tailored around sharing the vision that both of these guys have, especially in this case, Vansh has, so that these people get attracted to the vision, not just view your content, but eventually apply whenever you have roles open, right? So yeah, that's going to be one sub pillar of people into tech and AI. What do you think the second would be, Vansh? When we talk about people into tech and AI, the purpose is going to be to build a network, top of funnel content, be an authority in the space, so that जब भी ये किसी के मन में आ रहा है, you guys are the one that are coming into their minds, right? Why people into tech and AI? ये हम content ही इसीलिए बना रहे हैं, that is tailor made for these specific kind of people, right? So the second, I think, sub pillar here should be the network you're going to build in this space.
Okay, cool.
Every single person around tech and AI should know who Vansh is.
Correct.
Right? So it's going to be the second purpose of this top of funnel content of people into tech and AI is going to be to network and to be an authority in the space. Make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to bring this down here. In fact, we're going to use this space. So this is for networking and authority building, right? So when you share your unique insights in and around AI, what happens is people that are into the same field, people that have AI agencies themselves, people that are in fact ahead of you in this field also, they start to notice your content. They start to see, okay, these guys are building something valuable. And when you share genuine learnings, when you share genuine insights, these people start to eventually respect you. These people start to look at you as one of them if they are in this field, or if they are relatively freshers in this field, they're going to look at you as authority.
Correct.
Right? So inevitably, your hiring talent is also going to look at you as an authority. Inevitably, this is also going to connect, which is why these are sub pillars, right?
Yeah, it
so
doesn't-
the major purpose of this is going to be to maximize on authority building.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and tell people you know your shit. As simple as that.
Yeah.
A byproduct of that is going to be the network you build. A byproduct of that is going to be the people that buy into your vision and end up getting hired at goatedd.
Correct.
Absolutely. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. So networking and authority. For this, an example of a content piece is going to be, okay, recently Claude Design is out. What is your opinion on Claude Design? And not just generic opinion that most media pages are putting articles on.
Yeah.
This is going to be, you used this for your client.
Correct. Yeah.
You use this for your client. You had an experience. You have a before design version of how you used to do it. You have an after version of how Claude Design does it. And you share what is the difference like.
Correct.
You share what is something people can implement in their business when they're using Claude Design that can be used better. These are learnings they walk away with, end up implementing in their own company and see, wait, the source of all of this was Vansh. Imagine the amount of authority you build when something that tangible of an output is created into someone else's business without you having even met that person.
Correct. So
That is what you can do
this
by
goes
targeting
for,
these things.
anything that is coming out, any new product,
Any new product that is coming.
Opus 4.7, Claude Design, anything. We test it out on actual, projects. We give you our experience on using it, not just, wow, Opus is great. Not that. We're telling you exactly how we used it, why we used it, and how is it performing, and should you use it or not.
Absolutely. That makes sense. When we make content like this, something that we have to keep in our mind is that we're not just giving info.
Correct.
We don't want to be another info creator in the AI space that is a saturated market, and there's a reason that is not a personal brand.
We give experience.
Because you give experience, you give perspective, you give before, after, you give case studies, because these are your personalized, tested information outputs that you're sharing. So you're not just sharing info, you're sharing information outputs, you're sharing information outputs intertwined to your story, so that when this information does go in a person's mind, they don't forget it. They don't forget who it came from.
Correct.
They don't forget the source of that information, because the story is going to stay in their head always.
Right.
Which brings us to an ICP moat. So how I approach personal branding is not just dividing the pillars of the ICP, but having certain moats that are non-negotiables that you never break in your personal brand. One of which is going to be, no matter what, you always share your story. So one moat we're going to have here, consider this a new orbit in the solar system or something. And this is going to be your unique story. This is going to be the story of how you're building goatedd, what you're experiencing while building goatedd, sharing whatever details you think can be leveraged to give out information. Because when you do this and when you share your unique perspectives as well, there's also going to be a moat that we use. In every single content piece that you create, you have to inculcate these things in one way or the other, because then your content becomes uncopyable. Then your content becomes more impactful. Then the person that is watching it knows you as a person, knows your story. And when you, like we spoke about, when you decide on pivoting or when you decide on changing something around who you're targeting, you are going to retain most of these people, because they didn't just watch you for the value you were giving to them. They got attached to your story. They related to your story. Which brings us to our next ICP, which is going to be people that relate to your story. So apart from story being a moat, we'll also be going out of our way and sharing your story repeatedly.
Correct.
It's going to be what the journey has been like till now, what the journey is going like, parts of the journey that can be used to explain concepts that you're understanding right now, and putting out your core messages, your core motto out into the world. So when we talk about your story, Vansh, what do you think is the core concept, core motto that we're going to be utilizing here that is going to stick around your personal brand for many years to come?
So yeah, the main ideology is that you need to do whatever it takes to reach out there. You need to, you need to put yourself out there. You need to send that email. You need to make that call. You need to do what the fuck ever it takes, right? That is one of the main ideologies that we follow. So how did we reach out to Mo? He put out shamelessly. You
Which
have
is
to be
their
shameless.
first client, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
so
correct. So you have to be very shameless, and you have to just do whatever it takes. Do whatever the fuck it takes.
So it's going to be around things like do whatever it takes. Obviously, this is just something that came right across in our mind right now. We're going to make that more unique to your story. Execute fast. I think that is also a very intrinsic part of what Vansh and Rushal's operational qualities are like, traits are like. So they execute very fast. They made a custom dashboard for me within hours.
Yeah.
So that was really quick, and something that is going to be a differentiating factor for any agency in any service in times to come, because AI is going to reduce the friction of time that existed. So someone that is going to leverage that for themselves is going to differentiate themselves. So these are going to be components like do whatever it takes, and how you left a conventional path, got to an unconventional one, and that did whatever it took, which is to get your first client. You were shameless in approaching them. You were shameless in the outreach, and you executed really fast as soon as you got them, which led to you getting your second client, and so on and so forth. So these are going to be two sort of important parts of your story that we're going to be sharing. And there are going to be innumerable more that we're going to be coming across when we get into the depths of your story, right? Which is something we do as soon as we onboard any client at Argo. We go into the depths of their story. We ask very specific questions in our questionnaires such that you remember parts of your story that you hadn't even recalled for years. So, and that is something we want to do when we're building your personal brand. We want your story to be 100% out there. Yeah, that is what we're going to be doing with Vansh to elaborate upon this ICP pillar. This brings us to the final ICP. And the reason they're up here is because these are going to be people that are actually up there. These are going to be investors. These are going to be VCs. These are going to be people that are dominating the AI space, that have dominated it for years, that have paved the way, right? And these are going to be, these people consume content too. These people also look out for talent, like you guys are looking out for talent for goatedd. And they don't necessarily look out for talent to hire. They don't necessarily look out for talent to build a network. They have enough of that. They look to invest. They have abundance of money. Something these people are looking for is the right people, the right companies to invest in.
Correct.
And you've got to show that in this space, if anybody is looking to invest, you are the best choice of person to invest in. And how a personal brand really helps you cut down the long line that usually exists in this space where startups are trying to get funding is that, one, it comes inbound. Two, even when it's outbound, the amount of authority you've already built through content pieces like this, the amount of story that you've shared, the amount of trust you've built already in the space becomes a huge leverage point. So when an investor looks at, okay, this guy is followed by so many people in this space. When an investor looks at one of their mutual investor follows you because of content like this, when they look at stuff like this, it really plays into their psychology and they end up trusting you more. Correct. Even if they scroll to 4 or 5 reels, or if they watch one long form video that we put in your bio on your Instagram or LinkedIn, this builds a lot of trust. Rest of the people there
compounds.
Exactly, that compounds. So rest of the people there, they're going to be walking fresh into the room to pitch, whereas you, VC or the VC's team, probably would have consumed your content, which just maximizes your chances of eventually getting the investments, or at least being recognized by these people. Correct. Which is also a huge bonus point, because it eventually always funnels down to something very productive for the business, right? Now we have to understand what these investors are looking for. You cannot tailor make content for investors. It's going to look too into the face. It's going to look too salesy. It's going to look too desperate.
Yeah.
What you have to do is be your own selves, but document it positioned in a way where a potential investor would want to watch your reel. What is that going to look like? You build in public, you share numbers, which is something investors care about. You're honest about these numbers. You're honest about the way you go about your business. These are quality traits that investors look for in businesses. End of day, any other business is probably going to make them money. They want to work with the right people. People that are honest about their numbers. People that if they look at your content, they see that numbers have been growing for years, right? And that only happens when you build ruthlessly in public and just shamelessly keep sharing numbers, talking about numbers, and put all of this data that is valuable to them out there, not for the purpose of them seeing it specifically as a part of documenting your journey, but it inevitably becoming something that ends up attracting these people, right? And just sharing the way you go about business. There's going to be stuff like, these are going to be philosophies, unique ways of dealing with business, traits like first principles thinking, clarity, all of this being shown in your content across all content pieces, also as a moat. This ends up attracting the right people. I think with this, we cover all the major pillars of the ICP that we're trying to target with Vansh's content. We solve all of these purposes that we wrote down in the start. We build a network. We build an audience that is interested in and around AI through unique perspectives, which is something this ICP pillar does. We target the exact business ICP for the agency, and we have a moat that makes people relate to your story.
Correct.
Perfect, guys. That is the end of the ICP breakdown for Vansh. The solar system analogy for the ICP breakdown sort of helps me explain it very clearly, is something that I realized. So might help you break down your ICP, even if you've started your personal brand already, even if you're really experienced in it. It always helps to sort of realign yourself to who you're creating content for. This is something I experienced in my own personal journey. So I ended up creating content for the right people in the start, and I had to sit down and do this for myself, which is how I came up with this. And this is really beneficial for anybody that is posting content. This is something that is also applicable to your own company's social media, any sort of social media. This whole concept of breaking down who the ICP is aligned with first principles thinking. So make sure you think of content that way. And if you need my help in breaking that down, my calendar link is below. Book a call and we'll figure it out.
If you want to map out your solar system, oftentimes you need a telescope, big one standing over here. Calendar.
All right, that's a perfect ending to the video.
With this guy.